Namaskar. Friends, in this discourse, we shall examine the remaining four Vikshepas that cause as obstacles for the Sadhaka. In the previous discourse, the speaker has introduced 5 Vikshepas. They include number 1, Vyadhi, that is disease. The second one is Jnanam, that is languor, that is lack of nerve power. And the third is Samsaya, that is doubt. The fourth is Pramada, that is carelessness. And the fifth one is Aleshya, that is laziness. Now we shall examine the remaining 4 Vikshepas in this discourse. The sixth one is Avirati. This is worldly mindedness. We are mostly involved in worldly activities. More involvement in the world creates samskaras. And samskaras are nothing but subliminal impressions. And these subliminal impressions are stored in the subconscious state. And they are very powerful. They influence our actions and also shape and form our character and destiny. So therefore, these subliminal impressions, known as samskaras in Sanskrit, also act vikshepas. They come in the way of sadhana. Therefore, we need to exercise our discretion, that is viveka. We can involve in such actions which are essential or necessary for survival or for our progress. Unnecessary indulgence in actions will create more subliminal impressions, and therefore we get unnecessarily worried, and they create a lot of tension and anxiety in us. And this is what we mean by worldly mindedness, avirati. The seventh one is Bhranti Darshana, that is delusion. Delusion is nothing but taking a thing what it is not. All of us suffer from these delusions. Especially in the field of yoga. As we practice and proceed and make an advanced progress in this, we may undergo certain experiences, and these experiences may look very strange, and sometimes they are mistaken for mystical. So the sadhaka may tend to mistake such strange experiences for something mystical. And sometimes the sadhaka may assume that such experiences are final. Some strange images, mental images, these may happen in the sadhana, in the advanced sadhana, and the sadhaka may tend to mistake such images, such strange images, for something else, or he may mistake them for something real in mystical sense. So this will harm the sadhaka. This will create an obstacle in the progress of sadhana, and therefore Patanjali has treated this as one of the 9 Vikshepas, Bhranti Darshana. The 8th one is Alabdha Bhumikatva, that is non-achievement of state. As the yogi makes strides in his sadhana, sometimes he may feel that he is not progressing, and this acts as a block, and the sadhaka may get stuck, and this arises because of lack of confidence, faith in the sadhana. So the sadhaka may think that he is not progressing. Sometimes the sadhaka may be in haste. He wants to achieve the results quickly. He wants to have instant progress. He wants to reach the goal immediately. But as this anxiety, as this intense desire may not happen, so the sadhaka thinks that he is not making any progress in his sadhana. So this also acts as Vikshepa, and this is called non-achievement of a state, particular state in the sadhana. Especially this happens in the 3 stages, namely dharana, that is concentration, dhyana, that is meditation, and samadhi, that is a trance-like state. And the last one is anivastatvani. This is nothing but a state of instability. Sometimes we become unstable. We become very weak in our sadhana. We may not be steady in our sadhana, the steadiness is disturbed, and we may not have that continuity of sadhana, an uninterrupted sadhana. So we may tend to lose that stability. So we become unstable, unsteady. All this arises because of lack of intelligence and discrimination. So this instability also acts as Vikshepa. Apart from these Navavikshepas, that is, Patanjali has identified 9 such Vikshepas which come as obstacles in the path of Sadhaka. So all these 9 Vikshepas we have examined in these 2 discourses. So the one is Vyadi, that is disease. The second one is Dhyana, that is languor. The third is Samsaya, that is doubt. The fourth is Pramada, that is laziness. And the fifth one is Alasya, that is carelessness. The sixth one is Avirati, that is clinging to the worldly mindedness, that is more involvement in worldly activities. And the seventh one is Bhranti Darshana, that is delusion. And the eighth one is non-achievement of state. And the ninth one is instability. So these are the 9 Vikshepas. But we can add some more Vikshepas. As for instance, more attachment to the ideas and thoughts, things and objects. And this attachment to things and ideas will also create as Vikshepas. Similarly, we may also create certain images of ourselves, and we get attached to such images, and we live in such images, and we look at the world through such images. And therefore, this attachment to the images also creates as an obstacle in the yoga sadhana. All these obstacles will not help the sadhaka achieve his ultimate goal in yoga, and they cause terrible disturbances. How to overcome all these Vikshepas? Well, the speaker has repeatedly emphasized in his previous discourses that by adhering to 2 important virtues, namely Viveka and Vairagya. The Viveka stands for discriminatory power, and Vairagya stands for dispassion. These two virtues, if they are sincerely cultivated, the sadhaka can overcome these Vikshepas, Vikshepas. And of course, there are so many things that cause as Vikshepas in our life. And they cause anxiety, they create depression, they create fear, and they create all sorts of negative emotions in us. All these act as obstacles. So if Viveka and Vairagya are cultivated, the sadhaka can overcome these Vikshepas. Along with these two virtues, the sadhaka must strictly follow the 10 cardinal principles laid in Yama and Niyama. Even if one of these 10 cardinal principles is sincerely followed and observed in living, the sadhaka can make tremendous progress in his living. He can see a lot of difference in his living, and slowly and steadily he will move away from the worldly attachments, and he will have the things that can meet his survival, and can indulge in such actions that can make him survive in this world, or such actions that can give him livelihood. And beyond that, the sadhaka will not seek any extra comforts and luxuries. He will be content with the necessities. He will have only the needs that are fulfilled, but he will not have more desires. So, cultivating the virtues stipulated in Yama and Niyama, and following the twin golden principles, namely Viveka and Vairagya, the sadhaka can overcome all these obstacles, these Vikshepas, these Vikshepas. Namaskar.